And we're back, and now we're going to discuss one of the factors that makes this very crowded race for county council at large something really interesting. We have people from all different backgrounds and from all different sectors, and some people may agree, some people may disagree, but there has been a call for more input from the private sector. Some critics and some supporters of term limits may be critical of those that have spent most of their time in government. Others value a lot of government experience. But Ashwani, you're going to speak a little bit about how your family has a small business. Mm-hmm. And didn't you study business or management when you were in school?
I did. I did a double undergrad degree in business management and political science.
All right, so tell me something about how your family kind of grew and created their own, I guess, American dream as small business owners. Usually this is something that you hear time and time again from the right, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case here.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think one thing that we should be very mindful of as progressives is that we don't forget the economic arguments for the issues that we care about. Because for every issue, whether it's universal health care, raising the minimum wage, etc., there isn't a good economic argument for those issues, which is why my family, even though they are small business owners, they are very liberal, progressive Democrats. When my father started his business, it was in an outdoor flea market in Bethesda. He had no business know-how. He had no connections to the industry. They're jewelers. But he started because he wanted to take a chance on himself. And he wanted to do something that really provided a service to the community. And in his way, that was by providing this sort of private sector experience and providing people with an opportunity not only to buy jewelry, but also sell jewelry and get extra income based on that. And because of the investments made by the federal, state, and local governments, he was actually able to expand that business to an indoor flea market in Silver Spring, to now eventually it is a very successful small business. And from my parents, I learned the value of customer service. I also learned from them the value of investing in your employees. Because a great business is made by great employees who feel like they are being heard and listened to. A great business also needs a thriving urban center to make sure that your employees have greater access to live, work, and play. And I think that is why, because of my private sector experience and my government experience, I do support smart growth that favors mixed-use development and also creates inclusive communities with access to affordable housing, quality transit, education, and employment. And I think when you do that, you're not only expanding your tax base, which also helps the small business owners and helps the local economy, but it also ensures that you're not pricing people out of your cities.
Right.
I've also learned from my parents' business background that we need to attract more younger people to come into their same geographic area. In Montgomery County, we do have a growing senior population, and we're not attracting as many young people to grow our economic tax base. And I think the reason for that is we need to create more job training and career development programs. Because as young people, as millennials, we don't just want a job, we want to know that we have a career. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that I do also have experience with on the government side. When I was working in the Obama White House, one of my experiences was training, finding, recruiting, and promoting diverse and young candidates to take leadership roles in the executive branch. And so part of that included creating a mentorship program for about 100 newly appointed college graduates, many of whom were serving their very first job out of college, and actually providing those opportunities for them to grow and develop, which eventually diversified the workforce, allowed a business to get access to a whole new group of applicants, and then also strengthen the local, can strengthen the local economy as well. And so there's a lot of overlap, I think, between politics and business, but it all comes with making the right investments and understanding that when you raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, it is the right thing to do, but it is also, it helps the economy. Because an employee will have less, a business will have less costly employee turnover and increased employee retention. Because then we won't lose employees to places like DC that does have a $15 minimum wage. And that in turn can help the economy. But again, it's just being very mindful of how are we supporting our small businesses by supporting the employees. Mm-hmm. And then the final piece of that I'll make is, I have seen, whether it's my own parents' case or other businesses that I've been speaking with, that some of them are facing short-term displacement because of new and upcoming development projects. And these businesses understand that development is good and it helps them in the long term, But just in the short term, they would like the county to provide them some support in terms of relocating and in terms of keeping their existing customer base. My parents had an office in Silver Spring. Within 5 years, they had to relocate 4 times because of development. And again, they understood that with that development would come an expanded customer base. But in the short term, they were scared, right? They didn't know where they're going to have to move to next. They were scared of, are they going to have to pay higher rents? And are they going to be able to afford those higher rents? And what happens to their existing customers? Are they going to know where they're relocated next? And so I think that's something that the county can do a good job of, is providing that kind of support and providing them the resources so that, again, we're looking at it from a comprehensive way to support that whole system.
Wow, so many great points out of this. So let's kind of work backwards. I had a good discussion with Brandy about raising the minimum wage, and again, living in the Tacoma Park bubble, most people I speak with have been supportive. At the very least, it does kind of rise the whole level. You say to help the economy. It seems like it helps the economy by just generating more disposable income.
Exactly.
I mean, a lot of people making minimum wage. Well, I mean, what is disposable income? They can't even pay their way.
Exactly.
More people make, the more people can go out and spend.
Yep.
Versus the people that are already well off, they're not necessarily just spending more, they're investing it or just putting it away. So it does seem like a win for everyone. Likewise, you need a healthy business climate to have a healthy tax base. So many people kind of think it's the either or kind of thing. We need both and.
Exactly.
And
just the last point I'll make about the raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. I am a supporter of it, and I actually did testify in support of it in the county council.
That's right.
And again, one of the arguments I made is not only are you increasing the disposable income for those employees, but you're also keeping that disposable income within the same geographic area, right? And you're making sure that they are able to support other small business owners and other small businesses, and they're able to pay their mortgage and to pay for healthcare costs, etc. And so it is, when you look at it from a comprehensive way, you're really able to improve all levels, whether you're a private sector person, whether you're a government employee, whether you're a student, regardless of how it is, you need to make those types of investments. And I think that's why, other cities in this country, San Francisco, Seattle, New York, DC, these are places that have thriving urban centers, have thriving economies, because they understand the need to invest in their employees, invest in their citizens.
No, on another great point that you made, bringing Montgomery County millennials to the forefront, or bringing at least millennials to Montgomery County. You're right, it does seem like a relatively aging population. Now, it's a bit of a complex issue because the issue with just providing more jobs that lead to careers, this is a major metropolitan area, and maybe with the current administration there isn't as much fervor for, or maybe in the resistance kind of sense, but certainly during the Obama years that kind of brought this wave of young people to DC. But what would you do as council member to try to bring people under 35? Now we got to start thinking about the next generation. My niece and nephew who kind of grew up with the internet, to choose Silver Spring over Arlington, to choose Montgomery County specifically over DC or Northern Virginia.
Yeah, I think the starting point is by actually working to build coalitions. So organizations like Workforce Montgomery are doing a lot of this career development training programs. I've had experience in that as well. When we are showing specifically young people that not only will we get you a job, we will provide a career for you, they are more incentivized to come into the area. But then again, looking at it from a comprehensive way, we also have to make sure we are reducing the opportunity gap. We're making sure that we're reducing traffic congestion, right? Again, looking at these issues in a way that makes sure that if you work in this county, you can also afford to live in the county. So that touches on affordable housing. And so I think if we are very systemic and comprehensive about how we approach these, and not just talk about one thing or the other, but one thing and the other, I think that is one way where we will attract not only younger people to come here as employees, but also attract more businesses, small, medium, and even large businesses, to come and work and stay in Montgomery County.
Yeah. And what would you do to foster that kind of improved dialogue, shifting the dialogue from management versus labor to management and labor. How would you try to get to move so that we're talking with that more nuance to consider both sides?
Yeah, so my entire adult life has been about building coalitions, even with those who might be on the other side of the aisle. And I think that is what we need in leaders at all levels to address those issues, right? I think when you come to the table saying, I'm here to listen, I'm here to learn, you don't have an ego about anything, you are sympathetic to other people's concerns, and you're able to find a middle ground and not just say it's my way or the highway. I think when when you come at it from that approach from the get-go, from the beginning, meaning the campaign, then it makes it easier so that if, for example, if I am lucky enough to be elected, people know that, oh, he's not just making it up. He actually cares about listening to people at all aspects, whether you're a small business owner, whether you're a government employee, whether you're a student, whether you are a single parent, regardless of what your background is, if we show people that I understand your concerns, I'm taking an issue in a comprehensive way, and I'm touching on the opportunity gap, strengthening a local economy, reducing traffic congestion, and I'm doing it in a way that engages and empowers people, that is the best way to build coalitions and actually get the type of work done that we need.
Yeah, like I said, there's so many different ways to go about this. Yeah. You said you need people our age, they need places to work, they need, I don't even want to say stability because we're kind of all over the place, but a prospect of a career, a place where they can afford to live but also have some fun things to do. So many people look down on these kind of requests and say we're asking too much, but no, there are creative solutions to go about this. Another thing, though, to get a little bit controversial, and we're going to get even more controversial in a minute, some critics, again, critics I've seen by, God help me, reading comment sections on Bethesda magazine. Don't do that. Just don't do that. But sometimes I'll be like between tasks at work and I'll read, and it seems like everyone thinks that Montgomery County is the most business hostile place in the whole, and every business just gonna move to Virginia. Now, do you think that are there any policies that you think are hostile to businesses that could be changed here, that you might get support from all different sides?
Sure. I actually don't think Montgomery County is very hostile to businesses. Like I said, my parents, they started and expanded their business in Montgomery County, and we are only successful today because of the investments made by our county government and the fact that our county leaders, historically, and state leaders understand the value of small business owners. Again, I just think we have to be more mindful of looking at it from a comprehensive way. Yeah. So one specific example, which historically may not always happen, when we look at these new development projects, right? We have these small business owners that are getting displaced. That happens all the time. Like I mentioned earlier, that happened with my parents when they had an office in Silver Spring. They had to relocate several times. So historically speaking, the county develops and doesn't always provide enough notification to these small business owners, doesn't provide the type of tax incentives to keep the small business owners in the county, or doesn't always provide those small business owners enough help in terms of, okay, where can you find an equitable place where the rents are the same, and how can we help you market to your current customers who know the same place they've been going to for 20 years, now they have to go to a new location. So I think all that needs to happen then is just to elect leaders who will understand that and make that a priority so that we are still moving forward on these progressive issues while also making sure that these businesses are getting the right notification and support that they need. It has happened in the past. We just need to make sure it's continuing to move forward in that way.
Yeah, again, with the theme of comprehensiveness. Yes. I think that's lost in a lot of the dialogue. Not so much among the candidates. I mean, I've talked with a lot of candidates, and it seems that this competitive field has inspired people to really think critically about these issues. But a lot of people who are inclined to voting against one particular person or another are doing so because of the assumption that it's either in favor of business or in favor of labor. There's no, I don't even want to say middle ground, but there's no mutual benefit. And what you've been saying is everything can be construed in a sort of mutual benefit.
Yes.
Now there is one particular controversy, and I want to get your opinion on it if you want.
Sure.
There's been discussion among the business community, particularly with restaurants about the liquor control issue.
Sure.
Do you think that's something that needs to be addressed at the council, or what is your take on that? You may not have an exact opinion, but it is the level of controversy here.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a very important issue. On one hand, I don't think the county should be in the business of selling alcohol. But on the other hand, I want to make sure that we are protecting the hundreds of jobs that currently are employed by the Department of Liquor. And so I think we need to find a comprehensive way to make sure that we are supporting those county union employees because they do such great work, but also helping some of these small business owners, some of these restaurant owners who are saying that they're losing some customers to places like DC, to places like Arlington, that not only have more choices of alcohol, but also at better prices. And so I think there's definitely a middle ground. There's definitely ways to phase it in. And there's also, places we can look at. I think it was Pennsylvania that recently started that process of kind of finding that middle ground. And so I am committed to working with people at all levels, all around this country, many of whom I happen to work with in the Obama administration, who are now doing great things at all levels of government. And actually working with them, saying, hey, what happened in your state? What happened in your city or your county that maybe we can apply here? But again, as long as we are protecting those jobs that are so crucial, because I would not move forward on anything that harms or jeopardizes those people's economic security.
Once again, the comprehensive approach. And the reason why I asked specifically you this is because it's such a millennial issue. There's so many different potentially competing sides to reconcile. I mean, there's the budget shortfall, there's the union workers, there's keeping things at a reasonable price, but then there's the small business owners, say restaurants, they want to be able to serve a certain kind of alcohol, or just people our age that want more options too. I mean, I haven't really had so much of an issue that I couldn't get a drink that I wanted at a certain place, but it is something to think about when attracting people under 35.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's your favorite restaurant in the area?
Oh, there's a lot. I mean, I'm a big fan of Thai food.
Yeah.
Any place that can serve some good pad Thai, I'm all for. Yeah. I mean, the good thing is, again, I've lived in the county at large, so I've been to restaurants at all over the place in the county that I love so much. So it's gonna be hard to kind of pick one or the other.
And final question on this specific topic is, as someone who's lived in 4 of the 5 districts and for all your life, what kind of trends have you noticed over the years in the business community, or geographical trends? What kind of variations do you see in whether or not the businesses are thriving, or what kind of businesses are thriving, or where immigrant-owned businesses are thriving by time and by geography? Yeah,
I would say, over time, like I mentioned earlier, we are seeing a growing senior population. And so from a business perspective, it is how do we attract more younger clients, younger customers, which obviously generally either have more disposable income or spend it more. So I think that's something that the business community is seeing and facing. I think the other aspect is transportation, right? Traffic congestion has gotten worse. And many small business owners, including my parents, are facing this issue of a lot of their customers may live in other parts of the area, may live in other parts of the county or even other counties, and they're not able to get to work, right, to their place of business or to the company to buy their services. And so I think one thing we have to be mindful of as a political candidate, as future policymakers, is what are we doing to reduce traffic congestion so that it helps the employees, it helps the individuals who are the customers, and then through that helps the small business owners. Yeah.
Well, it seems like a lot of your solutions would end up bringing people under 30, under 35 into the area. Because honestly, when I have lots of friends all around the DMV, as we say, and the perception of Montgomery County hasn't been particularly good. I mean, it's a lot of misconceptions, and a lot of my friends here that I don't know, on the flip side of that, I don't know many people here that want to move, unless it's like they're moving across the country to something completely unrelated. But friends in DC and Arlington, for example, they think of, say, Bethesda is is snobby older rich people.
Mm.
I mean, there's all three, but not. And I'm sure there are people that happen to be all three, but that's by far not the majority.
Oh.
And of course, Tacoma Park is full of dirty hippies, but I love that. But there's just kind of a lot of misperceptions, and I would like to make MoCo fun again.
Sure,
I don't know. I think it is fun as it is, but
yeah,
more that perception.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, and I think Montgomery County is majority minority. We have a county of 1 million residents, so that's more than places like DC, Delaware, Wyoming, Vermont. I mean, we have a unique opportunity to be the model for the nation when it comes to any type of innovative solution. We are a great place to live, to work, to play, but we just need to be, again, very mindful of not pricing people out of our cities because of development. To make sure that we're supporting these small business owners who have to relocate in the short term because of development. We have to make sure that as we're developing in a smart way that creates inclusive communities with access to transit and education and employment opportunities. And I think all of those things are not just something that, it's something that everybody wants, but in particular, it is something that younger people gravitate toward. And I think if we're able to be mindful of tackling these issues in that way, we will see our tax base grow, and then we will see it benefit our local economy.
Excellent. And I hope that's what ends up happening. Now, any final words you'd like to say? Any final thoughts you'd like to express to voters? Other experiences you'd like to go into? We have a few more minutes, but
absolutely.
Not too many.
Like I said, I was born and raised in this county. I've lived in the county at large. I have organized in the county at large through my work in the Obama administration and the Obama White House and the Obama campaigns. Part of my work also was serving as the director of outreach for Vice President Biden's Cancer Moonshot. And in that way, I actually work with research institutions around this country, but in more particularly with the NIH and the Walter Reed Medical Center. The NIH is housed in Montgomery County. It is also our largest employer. And so understanding that we have such great research institutions here in the county that we need to support and develop, I think that is really important, and that's something I'm going to be very mindful of. Overall, my progressive people-focused campaign is always looking for more volunteers. We just signed up our 462nd volunteer just a couple days ago. So we have a great team of people who believe in me, believe in my vision, but we're also looking for more. I've also been endorsed by Run for Something, by President Obama's former National Field Director, John Carson, and by the former HUD Secretary, Julian Castro. But if you want to find out more information, please visit my website, voteashwanijain.com, to find out more information. And I'm really looking forward to this opportunity to continue to get to meet new residents and hopefully serve as your next county council member at large. The election is June 26th. You have 4 votes for the at-large race, and I would be honored to have one of your votes. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for being on the show. And he watches the MoCo Millennial, and you should keep watching and listen out for the podcast and the process of extracting some of the audio, and eventually it'll all be up there. And so now you'll have 2 different options to catch up with all these different candidates running for all these different things and leading our resistance. So have a great rest of your week, and check back with the next lineup of people.
Thank you so much.